Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, June 8th, and wow, yesterday was a pretty crazy day for GameStop. Very interesting to watch as the algorithms parsed some of the announcements that were coming out of GameStop in real time. And so you saw, like you had for a couple seconds or even maybe a minute or two, it went heavy in the green, probably as it parsed the original announcement saying that Ryan Cohen would become the executive chairman. As good news, price started going up, and then just the absolute crazy shift when they saw that CEO was getting terminated, and then obviously the very bad results that came after. I mean, the results themselves are actually not the worst. Like, it's a 17-cent miss versus consensus of 15 cents. I mean, although that is literally giving back all the profit they had in Q4. Just not great. I think people were very much expecting a very big hit as similar to last quarter. And then we also saw that they canceled their shareholders call, or their earnings call, which is not good. But I mean, was there really anything of value on those earnings calls anyways? They didn't take Q&A. They didn't really give too much insight. And so I think all in all, I would not have expected it to react as harshly as it did. But here we are. And yes, Negative Road, we got that amazing video of the guy who was watching it live in a spaceman suit. It's pinned on Reddit, on r/WallStreetBets, if you guys want to go take a look. And he is now an emoji on the subreddit, and I'm definitely going to make him a server emoji right now.
I watched that. It was pretty great.
Oh no, is this the new Gah? What happened?
It's not nearly as short, but it is pretty sweet.
I'm guessing he was in the spacesuit because he was expecting it to go to the moon, and instead it turned into Challenger.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, you know who else imploded was Google. They're like, "Hey, we fixed Bard," and then the stuff tanked.
I think that was a lot of tech yesterday, though.
Yeah, Google, Amazon, a lot of them. There was a lot of profit taking.
I think it's because the people who were expecting pause or cut are kind of taking a second kind of guess at it. I think the Fed has a good chance of hiking again in June and possibly July because spending and, it's generally the consumers being quite resilient.
Well, credit card debt is skyrocketing, and interest rates going up does not bode well for that. So I'm not sure how resilient the consumer is. We'll have to wait and see.
New emoji just dropped. It's "Oh no, my GME." Scald, what is this about AI not happening? AI rug pull.
Sleepy Nate has some pretty compelling evidence that the current bull market bear market rally that's occurring in the bull market is largely driven by wild speculation in the big tech and is not supported by the rest of the NASDAQ. And we know that is being driven by speculation of AI revolutionizing things. And, if it fails to deliver on that promise, we're just going to collapse back into a recessionary environment. Sleepy Nate explained it better, so we should bring him up here if he's raising his hand. He is not. But yeah.
Yeah, that might be true, but I think the balloon will inflate for some time. I mean, I think it's going to take 6 to 12 months before people start to become impatient with this thing not rolling out, because you have to have all these companies go buy either infrastructure or sign partnership deals with people to get these large language models in, to retrofit it into their contact centers and like banks, for example, to get the chatbots up and then start to roll off their customer support agents and then see if it works or if it doesn't. I mean, it's like kind of a long road to test this thing.
And you're not going to know when. I mean, my theory is that you're not going to know when AI succeeds, because to me, AI is like a technology like the electric motor, right? Nobody gets up in the morning and says, hey, I need an electric motor. But a lot of people get up in the morning and say, hey, I need to blend my smoothie for today. I need to run my vacuum cleaner today. AI is going to be so deeply embedded in products, you're not going to know that it's even there. It's when AI disappears that it's going to be mature, not right now. And I'm not sure how that's going to impact the markets, but AI needs to disappear before it becomes widespread. The way, like, you don't think about all the products that the electric motor is in your home, and I think AI is going to go the same way. AI is not the thing; it's what AI can do that's the thing.
But I'm saying, like, even if all of this stuff is just hype, like, it'll take a long time for people to buy and test and then realize it doesn't work. And I think, there's probably a lot of purchasing that's happening right now. In fact, I know that is the case.
Realize it. In some cases it doesn't work, but in some cases it does. I mean, Tesla announced that they're going to be licensing their autopilot and full self-driving, which is essentially AI, to other OEMs. And that's they're already, like, their AI with the full self-driving, apparently it does work good enough to the point where they can actually license it to other companies. So sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it's not. But again, you're not going to know it because it's going to disappear.
It might not actually be working. Look at what Theranos did with Walgreens.
I mean, Theranos was an outright lie and fraud. The full self-driving with Tesla, that appears to be working so far.
Well, but I think what spurred, this big growth in the queues, for example, in the past 6 months has been generative AI and large language models. And, like, that's different than, what's going in Tesla and the AI that's there. I mean, that's sort of the story that's, sort of idiosyncratic to maybe automotive, maybe drones, maybe certain segments of the market. But I think these large language models, they have applicability across a large number of industry verticals. And so I think, like, that ubiquity of something like a customer support function, for example, and it actually being quite good to implement a large language model to replace, like, a customer support agent, at least a frontline agent. I mean, I think that's something that's applicable across a huge number of industry verticals and across, like, basically any size of company as well. Your credit union probably has a website, probably has, like, a customer support chat, and JP Morgan does as well. And so does, like, your utility company, and so does, your solar company. I mean, like, it's everywhere. I think that ubiquitous application, different than, like, computer vision in a car to make it drive down the street. I think that's what's caught fire.
Morning, everyone. Sorry, I had a real life thing to handle for a few minutes. Okay, so let's talk about the NASDAQ, specifically weighting in the NASDAQ. Everyone might be aware already, but some companies are bigger than others in the top 100 companies. And the thesis I've been playing off of is essentially that the value of that the NASDAQ is overvalued year to date. And so if you draw a trend line straight up, we're about 800 points too hot from January 1st till now. And that's even if the numbers so far can be trusted. And if you take a look at the ratio of something like QQQ over QQQE, which is the equal weighted Qs, you'll see these huge gap ups when one of the bigger companies, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, great example, has some big announcement about AI. Meanwhile, the QQQE has a much more steady curve up, or like line up. And so this ratio is showing me that more and more money is going into the top 10 names in the NASDAQ. And if you go look at who those are, it's all people who can say AI enough to continue bringing in money. So this is Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, so on and so forth, right? All of our favorite big cap tech stocks. And the thesis is quite simple. It's that they can't sustain that. And so the money has to go out again somewhere when people get scared.
Thank you for that rundown, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
If you want to call me an idiot for shorting the NASDAQ, feel free, but I'm pretty sound in this thesis.
And I think to go along with that, I think the next earnings report from NVIDIA, like they've announced what they have, and now they need to make the sales on what they have. I think the next earnings report from NVIDIA is going to give us a clear idea of where that's all going to go.
So, interesting thing with the high jobless numbers, as well as record-breaking employment numbers that we saw, right? We saw 339,000 people get jobs. We saw 231 people lose jobs. What this reminds me of is it reminds me of the August jobs report in
2011.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that we're about ready to go into a recession. It's very bearish.
I posted on the Confused Money Discord, 93% of CEOs in the United States are preparing for a recession within the next 12 to 18 months.
But does the fact that they're preparing for it so early, like, ameliorate some of the pain?
No, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If they're going to prepare for a recession, it's going to cause a recession.
Yeah. Are there any more layoffs on the horizon from a big tech perspective, or have they, by and large, kind of finished what they're doing?
There's not any news about it that I know of. Now, whether that means that there's something going on, HR companies don't say ahead of time, we're going to start looking at who to lay off 90 days from now.
Yeah.
Would you all like to know what's going on with some smaller to mid-size tech and pharma startups maybe in Silicon Valley right now? Would that help? Would that help y'all form your premise or no? I'm happy to let you know that.
It sounds like you have some information. Would love to hear it.
Well, for anyone who knows me, yes, always. But no, it's just right now. If you have capitalization in place going forward for a set amount of time, which not everybody in that industry does, you are cherry picking your talent for who's staying on in your core right now. And there are lots of board meetings. I've had to be back and forth recently due to some board meetings. But there's not a lot of capital inflow for places needing recapitalization. And a lot of these, especially the D-SPACs, are going to be choking up really badly. And so some are in the mid-level trying to lay off, but it is a last-ditch effort to stay afloat over the next year and a half.
And you're talking private companies.
No. I'm talking both. It's who was that? Who asked? That was Nate, right? Or that was
Smarter.
I'm talking both. I'm just not talking large. I'm talking mid and small cap for public as well as well-funded private. But that's the situation with it. People are not wanting to throw in VCs, are few and far between right now who actually have dry powder and are waiting for the next big thing. There are countries I had to sit in for a pitch from an AI company from a country that has more funds than most other countries. They themselves aren't even going to help funding it right now in one of the AI capitals of Europe. They're looking for outside investors. It's a very, very weird scene right now.
You know, it's funny, we keep saying recession coming, but before we changed the definition of a recession for no reason, seemingly, it used to be that it was 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, which by some standards means that we were in a recession last year. But I guess we're just not doing that anymore.
That's the weirdest thing, and that is the integral aspect to this. For anybody who also is willing to incorporate global, I would highly recommend reading about Hungary right now after following up with what has happened in Sweden and then following up on Germany and the UK before that, as far as all four sit today with their economies.
So, I was talking in the chat. You know, I didn't think about this till now, but I think the Adderall shortage is contributing to this recession. The fact that we can't get our speed is very problematic. This is a time for the economy to go fast, not slow. In other news, GameStop has listed their CEO role for anyone who wants to apply.
Oh, we should start a campaign for the moon guy. Get the astronaut guy the CEO position.
Rock star.
And lastly, there's a post about people in New York wearing breathing masks. Yes, you can recycle your N95 masks from the recent plague to protect you from the smoke that is now blanketing the Midwest and northeastern parts of America. That is a sentence that lets you know that we're living in the interesting times that historians will talk about later. But you can get protection from the smoke with an N95 mask.
I think I'm just going to take up cigars for the week.
I mean, from one perspective, your lungs already have.
All you have to do is go outside.
I figure if I get a good coating in there, then I'll be immune to the rest of it.
Did anyone watch the Druckenmiller interview by Bloomberg? I think it was a day or two ago. He was talking about how like this is one of the most challenging, confusing, like economic conditions that he's ever seen. And then I think about the news, and I'm like, shit, everything is on fire, and we just had this pandemic. It seems like I don't know, stuff's getting worse.
We had it on in Confused Money the other afternoon for a short period of time. I think it was Max who was broadcasting that. But unfortunately, I didn't catch all of it. I hate to be continuously talking about another server, but Helpful Haya asks, is the AMA with the CEO of AITX still on for this afternoon in Confused Money? As far as I know, it is. It's at 4 o'clock, right at market close. So if you have questions for the CEO of AITX, you could ask him about the AI rug pull if you want. Maybe they're benefiting from it.
Absolutely. We're doing an interview with the CEO of AITX. They have a AI-powered robot dog for law enforcement. They just did an interview with MSNBC. The CEO is going to be on Confused Money later today at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time at market close. And we have a list of questions for him. And so we're going to be running an AMA with the CEO of that company. This is the first of a series of high-level officers of publicly traded companies that we're going to be interviewing. And so we'd appreciate it if you all join us.
I mean, we hope. Depends on how the first one goes, right?
I mean, that's also true. We got to do a good job. So also someone in the chat asked where are the locusts. I put a source for that in the chat. The locusts are indeed here. And they're called Mormon crickets. They're a species of locust that actually lives. They're one of only 2 species of locusts that live here in North America. And someone spotted a very large amount of them in Utah. Posted pictures of it. So locusts, they might show up.
Those locusts are the reason that the seagulls, the state bird of Utah.
So calls on Mako Body Shop and Paint.
Wait, the seagull is the state bird of Utah?
That is correct.
That is insane.
Seagulls are very grub hungry usually when they're on land.
Utah's landlocked.
Yeah, they have seagulls. Tennessee is landlocked, and we have seagulls here too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you got lakes.
That's true what Decibel just said, Scald. Y'all need to get Slut Spoiler in on that. Isn't that hasn't he been looking for a big source of crickets for his protein?
He is. Slut Spoiler is betting that that's going to be our next food source.
There you go. Free protein.
Locusts will eat the crops, we'll eat the locust, and the circle of life will continue.
Free food.
Aren't we all just pre-food? I'm gonna go watch the whale call right now, or whale fall, and get my puts ready. Y'all take care.
Take care.
Oh wait, really quick. Scald and Nate, that was that document was the I don't know if y'all had a chance to look at it. It was Sachin Verma's declaration basically for the SEC versus Binance on the outflows to Silvergate is what that is for civil action. Y'all might really get interested in that one. All right, bye.
So going back to my unbalanced market theory here, yesterday I was looking at, so the theory is that the top 10% of the market has way too much of the money and needs to deflate, but that money then also needs to go somewhere. So I've actually been looking at the bottom 10% of the S&P 500 to see who is going to maintain their value in the face of a sell-off. And so I started to identify a couple members of the bottom 50 in the S&P 500 that I'm selling puts against. Comerica is I took a short the 35 put there yesterday. That's up 15%. I didn't get into Boston Properties, which is BXP, and I had my limit price set, expecting too much, and they took a nice rally yesterday as well. And then Advanced Auto Parts, we're coming a week off of shitty earnings guidance, but I don't know how much more beat down they can get. So I'm taking the 60 put there as well, and still hunting out where I can sell premium in those bottom 50 in the face of the top 10 or the top 10% perhaps selling off between now and June monthly closes.
Interesting strategy, but the VIX is so low right now. Are you really getting any decent premium? I mean, obviously 15% in a day is pretty impressive, but
yes, because most of these companies have been kind of eating shit. So the IV percentile, or for the tasty traders, the IV rank, is pretty high, right? So I've got a good set of companies to look through. Even if I expand kind of out from the bottom 50 to maybe the bottom 75 or 100, only grabbing the ones that have an IV rank probably in the 40 range. There was another one that was a little too small for me, but the people who make Elmer's glue, Newell Brands. So if anyone out there is looking for the same play under $1,000.
What's the point?
The thesis is that the market is too top heavy. So there's way too much money concentrated in Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Google, Meta, etc. And so it's bargain hunting the bottom 10% of the S&P, looking for high volatility equities to then sell puts against, with the thesis that they are going to be unaffected by a potential sell-off between now and the close of June monthlies.
Oh, like low or mid cap stock?
I mean, they're still S&P 500, so they're, it's still pretty big.
But like Elmer's would be on the bottom of that.
Yeah, Newell Brands is 4.
on advanced auto parts, that looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, someone pointed out that it is a bit of a catching a falling knife play, so be forewarned. But I'm fairly confident that even if I end up with shares of that, it's not going to be too much worse than a break even.
Thanks.
Yeah, looking at today, I'll probably not pursue too much because most of the ones that have the kind of low pattern I'm looking for actually took a bump up yesterday. So much like Comerica, Boston Properties. So yesterday when the S&P was kind of jumped and then had a sell off, these all actually went up. So I might have to pause until Monday or so to continue investigating some of these. Someone asked why Advanced Auto Parts is a falling knife. Well, they had bad earnings with shitty guidance, and they're closing stores. So they took a big dive after that. And then they could, if the news continues to be bad, continue to sell off.
is, if you think that the recession's still on, there's a good chance that Advance should do decently. They tend to put their stores in places where, you know, they really got whacked.
And then their expected earnings was 260, and they came through at 22 cents.
Particularly being serviceable and sort of really kind of kill the shade tree. I think like that's a very long-term story. I think there's a huge swath of the market that can't afford EVs or doesn't want to buy them. I think average used car age is getting higher and higher every day. So that's tough, though. It looks like management has not done a great job. If they have that bad of a miss, that's like worse than just a trend. That's like somebody fucked something up pretty bad.
I mean, maybe they fucked up by hiring an honest accountant.
Were their accounting practices under question like before?
No, but everybody else's are.
Yeah.
You know the old phrase EBITDA, the earnings before I told the damn accountant.
All right. Yeah. What's your timeline for this? You said end of month expiries for these short puts.
No, I'm selling July monthlies. someone in chat made mention of purchasing Nasdaq puts at open and then calls after 10 a.m. And that made me think of, has anyone been watching the VIX 1D intraday? Because last week there was some really interesting patterns of the market would kind of start dumping shortly after open, and then people would pile into puts and actually gamma squeeze the second half of the day, which I found pretty interesting. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get going. Good luck out there today.
So they always say to wait like 3 days after a really big move in the stock, like especially after earnings, to pick up shares. And that guy, whoever it was talking about Advanced Auto Parts. I think I'm gonna go through that. I'm gonna go long a couple lots and sell calls against it to cover the margin expense because I'll be buying it on margin and. I've plenty of margin cap, but I think like the 9% yield and the next dividend date in about a month and a half, a little less than a month and a half. I think that's pretty decent trade window. Been like more than a week since they had earnings, so I think that's how I'm gonna do it.
financial market.
what's up, fellas? Do any of you guys, by chance, have any word on Netflix, being that they are stopping people from sharing passwords now? I basically got kicked off yesterday. Kind of see a long-term put or play here. Anybody?
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. So, like, I have a really weird situation where we don't have, like, a set Wi-Fi router at my house. So we all have hotspots on our phones. And because of that, it thinks we're all in different households.
What?
It's great.
So it doesn't work on your phone either, because I noticed it works on my phone and my laptop, but I can't play it on my PlayStation or my TV, or when I cast it from my phone to my TV, then it fucks me. So I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this?
I haven't tried doing it on my phone, but, like, yeah, that's a problem I'm running into is it doesn't like the fact that we're using hotspots they're all different things, so.
Yeah, it's stupid. And it's between, and they said, oh, you can share with family members. That's all good. I can't even share with my damn brother now. We've been sharing fucking passwords. Shit is stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there might be a place somewhere in the future.
When I first ran into the issue on ours, it said, we'll send in, if this is a mistake, we'll send an email to this account and we'll give you details on how to do that. And so I'm like, that is so dumb. So yeah, Netflix is getting quite annoying on that.
Yeah, I think for maybe the next month or so, it's probably going to still be bullish, but the hammer's going to come down at some point. I know it is, because I'm not going to be the only pissed off Netflix subscriber or used to be subscriber soon. And a lot of people that feel like they're going to switch over to like HBO Max or Peacock or YouTube TV or any of the other plethora of fucking streaming services.
Well, it's either that or the other platforms will follow suit. A lot of it, I mean, Netflix is kind of going to be the experiment on this to see, like, how does it go. So I would look at, see what's going to happen to the Netflix earnings. And you'll probably, if there's a downtrend, they might get rid of it. If they're saying, hey, we actually had more subscriptions, you'll probably see the other companies follow suit.
Well, that's the thing. I think that Netflix is actually trying to follow suit with other companies, because I noticed Hulu was trying to be annoying with that shit a little while ago. And they were trying to, like, not exactly charge people more, but they were trying to crack down on password sharing by having people getting logged out like every 30 days or having to change your password every 30 days. That's what it was. It was changing passwords. So every time someone got logged out, I just created a new password with a different number at the end. And that would kind of solve my problem. But they kind of stopped doing that because I've been logged into my Hulu now for 2-3 months. So I think Netflix is probably going to end up retreating back on this at some point, because I know I'm not the only pissed off person. And I'm sure Hulu has dealt with this shit too for a decent amount of time.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm thinking a November play, or maybe a play for next year. Some sort of put. Thinking 335.
Yeah.
So Disney is just dunking on Ron DeSantis. Just a day after it was announced that his popularity rating is collapsing around the country, Disney penned a documentary about pride parades to the top of Disney Plus. One of the highlights is they turned Niagara Falls gay. I will post a picture in the comments.
Fan-fucking-tastic. They should put all the books that he fucking banned into their shit too as podcast.
Yeah, should be an interesting year next year.
I wonder what Alex Jones thinks that water does to frogs. I bet he's losing his mind right now.
Oh gosh.
Sorry. Anyway.
You know, it's really sad. I don't know if it's talking about how like unaware they are of the world or just how irrelevant Alex Jones has become. But I remember a while back I was at work and I was dispensing groceries to a customer and they had an Alex Jones DVD in their car. And I said something to some of my younger coworkers. I'm like, yeah, the person had an Alex Jones DVD in the car. They're like, who's Alex Jones? I'm like, he's the guy that thinks Sandy Hook was a hoax. Who's Sandy Hook? And I'm like, oh gosh.
Oh man. They don't know anything, man. They don't know anything. The other day, did I tell you guys about dramatizing a child the other day? So my friends.
Oh yeah, the nukes and the fallout. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, is it all right if he plays Fallout 4? And his mom was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. Like I wouldn't let my kid play Fallout 4 because it's pretty graphic. But I'm like, whatever. And then he was just like, imagine if nukes were real. This kid didn't know that nukes were a real thing. I just couldn't resist explaining that, like, you know, so many nukes exist.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize my mic was still on when I turned up my radio. My bad. But yeah, did anyone hear about the old guy from the 700 Club dying? It sounds like he's pretty irrelevant too.
Someone in the comments asked if there was any way to long Pride, aka Pride Month. Someone said buy Target. Have we already forgotten that Grindr is now a publicly traded company?
I was just about to say that. It's like, obviously, Grindr, come on.
Yeah, Grindr. Publicly
I
traded.
feel like,
Get your gay
well,
on.
I feel like this
That should
would
be their hat.
be. Yeah, that should be their slogan. But this is definitely, I feel like, would be the strongest month for Grindr.
Yeah, I feel like it. Pride's great marketing for the whole gay lifestyle, right? See all these gay people on a parade. They all look like they're having fun. Like, that looks fun. Maybe I should try being gay. Grindr just... I bet this month is their highest number of signups for Grindr.
Yeah, that's what I think, because, you know, it's that whole Pride one. Have you seen Bill Burr's bit where he's talking about, like, the difference between, like, gay men and lesbians? Freaking hilarious.
Well, a spoiler. Bro, you woke up. Come up here and tell me about Disney.
I did. I literally did just wake up. Thinking about Target has erected me. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear,
Loud and
buddy.
clear.
Okay, so it just wasn't a funny joke. All right, so back in the day, Comcast and Disney had and Fox, they all pulled their money together to buy Hulu, and it looks like that is ending. So Disney bought out Hulu. Disney bought out Fox's share of Hulu, so they own 66%. Comcast owns 33%, And Comcast is the rumor is that Comcast is now stopping their side of the bargain because they want Disney to buy out their share of Hulu. But here's the problem: Disney's only got $10 billion cash on hand, and according to the original contract, Comcast can force them to buy out their. Comcast can force Disney to buy out their position, and the entity of Hulu cannot be valued lower than $27.5 billion. So 33% of that is about $9 billion. And that is the lowest valuation that they're allowed to have. And Comcast has a much higher valuation than Disney's valuation. And so they're going to have to bring in a third-party estimator to come in here and actually fairly value what Hulu is worth so that Disney can pay a fair price to buy it out. But like I said, they only got $10 billion according to their latest finances, and they're gonna have to spend $10 billion on this Hulu, and so they're gonna have to start selling stuff. I don't know if it's gonna be IP. I don't know if it's gonna be park services, but Disney is fucked coming into January 2024.
Yeah, but wasn't Disney looking at selling their stake of Hulu?
They could be selling their stake at Hulu, but the way that it's going right now is that Disney has a lower valuation of Hulu than Comcast does, which tells me that they're trying to drive the price down of Hulu so they can buy it cheaper, instead of the other way around, which is where they would drive the valuation up so that they could sell it. And I guess Comcast has the upper hand here, because it's up to Comcast if they want to buy or if they want to sell, and it looks like they are on the they want to sell side. So they kind of got their nuts in a vice here. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Yeah, another said in the chat that Target's not to play because Target's going into the same problem that Bud Light did, where a bunch of people boycotted Target because they didn't like what they were doing, and then just like Bud Light did, they're like, all right, we're gonna take some step backs from this, and then Target, I guess, pulled a lot of that Pride merch, and now you have all these Pride groups that are like, hey, you need to return all this Pride merch back onto the shelves and then put it back in your stores, or we're gonna boycott you. So they're like screwed.
Well, I do have a piece on this that I would like to say, and the problem isn't just Pride clothes. It was the Pride clothes on children's mannequins, and every fucking mainstream article I see is trying to softball this whole thing. Nobody gives a shit if you're gay, dude, or nobody cares if you're selling Pride merch. It's the directing this shit to children that crosses the line, and so they started pulling it off. And I am expecting a second wave of protests from the LGBT side that has been fed this narrative that people were protesting over the general Pride stuff, which is just part of the media drumming up the story and all this infighting and stuff, and it's already happening. So I guess Florida Target had a bomb threat by an LGBT group for pulling off certain Pride stuff. And so they're going to get Bud Lighted, I guess is the term that they're trying to have catch on, which sounds hella lame. But I don't think that the protests are over. It does look like Target might have hit a bit of a bottom. It could just be a dead cat bounce. But you've got some other overarching bearish stuff happening in the market as well. Then I got, but I have puts on them. I have quite a heavy put position on Target because I think that their normal income is a bit more on the conservative, family-oriented side, and that's exactly who they've scared. And if I was trying to ruin my company, the fastest way I would do it is sexualizing children by dressing them up in basically a celebration of legalized anal sex. I don't know, whatever. It's cool. But then the other thing is like we sort of have moved as a culture towards like this neoclassical architecture and neoclassical designs of removing identity from our logos, and everything has sort of lost its detail, and it's allowed for more of a blank slate. Sort of like if you compare like a Budweiser can to a Bud Light can, you'll notice that there's significantly more detail and identity on the Budweiser can. And the problem with this now is that because you've created such a blank slate, that when you take some kind of political stand, it just amplifies it and it becomes the identity of the object now. So with brands like Bud Light, or another example, I just want to throw this out there, is McDonald's. Like back in the 90s, it was like all purple and yellow and orange and blue and goofy looking and fun, and now it's sort of just, it looks like a freaking cafeteria. So when you've removed all of this, when you've removed all of the identity, you're left with nothing. You can have anything be. You can have more of a identity projected upon you, and it's culturally safe and sound because you're not offending anybody, and that's great. But then you take a stand like this, and you get labeled, and it just amplifies it because there's nothing left in your identity to water it down or spread it around or whatever. So now, like, Bud Light is being called the gay beer, and which wouldn't have been a problem if they hadn't been the straight beer, I guess, for 100 fucking years. So I don't know. It's making money isn't always a clean thing. You're gonna get your hands dirty a little bit, and personally, I got no stake in any of this game, but I know that they've made a mistake financially, so I'm gonna make money here.
So Bud Light, the article yesterday that Bud Light was sponsoring an all ages drag show in Flagstaff, Arizona. It turns out that the all ages drag show jokingly put Bud Light on there to troll Bud Light. It has nothing to do. Bud Light is not actually funding the all ages drag show. Just to be clear.
Well, that's the amount of, I guess Bud Light could go for him for defamation or slander, libel.
What are they going to do? Sue all the gays? How's that going to work?
Who aren't they going to sue at this point?
That's true.
I mean, honestly, I just feel like at this point, no matter what Bud Light's going to do, it's going to be the wrong move. With the future growth, which group do they feel like is going to be the least vindictive?
So just to summarize the play on Disney, though, they ramping into January 2024, Disney will be trying to scramble for cash to buy Hulu as cheap as possible, cash they do not have and most likely will not have in 2024. So you're going to expect more.
They're going to easily be able to raise debt, right? I mean, they can just debt finance that. It's not hard.
I haven't looked at it, but yesterday I did hear that they had a pretty significantly high debt already. I'm expecting that they're going to lay off more. I'm expecting that they're going to start selling IP. I'm expecting that they're going to start raising park prices if they even can do that. It's going to get interesting to see them get even more creative on saving cost, because they've already cut their staff down to like skeleton crew. Now they're laying off Pixar. They're cutting off limbs in order to save the body.
Yeah. I said that their layoffs had gone too far a few weeks ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I said their layoffs had gone too far, and they kept going. There's
who else
also
said that?
floating around that LucasArts is going to buy back Star Wars.
Dude, and well, I didn't want to get. I have heard that. I didn't want to get into that because that's some real speculation. But like, how much is Lucas? Okay, but first off, you know who else said that, Mark? You know who else said that the layoffs had gone too far? It's called the market. Disney lays off over 30,000 people, and like the stock goes down. I thought this was bullish. Yeah, it's bullish the first time. It's like that scene in The Simpsons. Stop! He's already dead. You know. They all cheered at first, and then they start crying. But yeah, there's a rumor that they're going to sell the Lucas IP back to George Lucas. But we'll see how that goes. How much can you really sell it for? I think George Lucas will be flipping a profit because they've completely destroyed it. And this isn't me being a film buff. This is me just talking about the actual numbers and fan and audience reviews. So I'm speaking objectively here.
I mean, why would George Lucas want it back? Like, they already dunked on the IP, and
Yes, they flushed it. And now they're like, "Hey, George, you want this back? We need some money." I don't know, and I didn't want to, but it is it's a fun rumor, but I'll tell you what is happening.
It would be like HBO coming to you and being like, "Hey, do you want to buy Game of Thrones?" Like after season 8, you'd be like, "Bro, you're gonna need to pay me to take that." Like, it's bad. I mean, it's like that's what they've done basically. So I don't know. I think didn't they buy it for $2.4 billion?
They bought it for a lot of money, and the stock went up when they did it.
I'm just wondering if Lucas had so much money that he just set all that money aside.
and they only have the rights. I think they only have the rights to the films. They don't have the rights to the video games. Is that right? Or they do.
They have all merchandising rights. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, get ready for 1,000 different video games of Star Wars or something like that.
Do you have the rights to Lego Star Wars, or does Lego license that from Disney now?
Disney is $10,000 for a 3-day vacation. What? No, it's not that expensive, is it? I haven't been to Disney in a long time.
I mean, depends on the ticket, the hotel, and the airfare, I guess.
Well, they shut down the Star Wars hotel, which was like $2,000 a night, or $2,000. The pricing was always kind of weird for me. It was like $5,000 for 2 days. Well, anyways, it's good that they're doing that. Nobody goes to fucking Disney to stay in the hotel, dude. When there's no windows. But yeah, they're in trouble here. Meanwhile, Comcast, on the other hand, is looking pretty good. Maybe Comcast is actually. There's also, if we're going to get into the rumor zone here, Comcast is thinking about buying out some part of something. I think Comcast was interested in some part of Disney. I'll try and find it.
The craziest thing I've heard so far is that Apple's going to buy Disney, but that's an old rumor. That's never. I don't know where it came from. Okay, there it is. There's an article by Computer World that says Comcast offers to buy Disney for $66 billion. Which is kind of insultingly low.
What's Disney's
22.
current valuation?
$100 billion, but it's actually they want to buy 42% of Disney. Okay, so that would make sense.
So they're just buying a fat stake in it. Okay.
Oh, but Comcast would
basically. You go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Well, it says here that Comcast would issue 0.78 shares of its Class A common stock for each share of Disney. So all the Disney shareholders would become Comcast shareholders, creating a combined company with a market capitalization of $122 billion. Including the parks. Son of a gun.
That would be insane.
That would suck. Just because I don't want to go to Comcast World or Comcast Land.
Oh gosh. I mean, surely they wouldn't be so dumb as to try to change like 100-year-old name. No.
Well, it's that kind of reputation.
Comcast World, California Adventure.
Yeah, it's that kind of like deep-rooted Americana psychologically like in our DNA kind of shit that Disney's been using as a crutch for so long, and they've gotten sloppy and weak. I'm really hoping that they try and sell or succeed in selling the Lucas Films whatever department, and that'll at least get Kathleen Kennedy out, and then we can start figuring shit out. But I've been saying this for a year now that I'm waiting for board shakeups, which have happened. They just haven't happened. I have one target in mind, and as soon as that Kathleen Kennedy chick goes, then it's go time, man. I'm telling you. And also, they have to start making good movies. They're missing these movies that they're just coming out with are just missing the magic. And I don't want to get into it because it's kind of maybe I'll write something about it, but it's not really stock with me. My other plays are I was talking about UCO because of the OPEC meeting that UCO's up bigly since I was talking about it. The other thing was there's a CIO America conference going on right now, and they have a whole bunch of keynote speakers talking about their technology. I was expecting some AI talk, which is why I had bought in a couple of shares of RTX and a couple of shares of Honeywell. I'll share the link in a sec here.
Jesus. There's a just retarded post on WallStreetBets. This person's asking if it's too late to get on NVIDIA, and he thinks it's going to go parabolic like Bitcoin's price. Bro, what? It already went parabolic. NVIDIA already pumped. What the shit? Why does he think it's going to go to $3,000 a share? What the fuck?
But it's gonna go super duper parabolic to Mars, baby. Nah, I'm kidding. I think Nvidia is done being parabolic. Wanted to get your thoughts on the whole GME situation following earnings. I was not one of the regards that got called on it, but I was one of the regards that got puts on it. And I don't know, it's looking like it's gonna have kind of a sideways day. Do you guys see any substantial drop, or are people with a mentality of, oh, buy the dip, preventing GME from falling further? Because honestly, I expected a harsher drop following a constellation of earnings calls plus a firing of their CEO. So I don't know, just want to throw that out there for a conversation piece if anybody wants to talk about that stupid stock.
I just think GameStop is like the half-price books of video games. And the problem is like half-price books already sells video games. And then like, I don't know, they're doing some innovative stuff, I guess, with their NFT marketplace. But like, come on, it's an NFT marketplace. Those already exist. So, I mean, on one hand, the one thing they've got going for them is they've tried to transform their business model. So they're not just laying down and taking it like Blockbuster or Radio Shack. So, like, they've got that going for them. But the question is, can they really turn it around? I think it's still a wait-and-see situation.
GameStop is a very volatile stock. It's got a lot of long-term holders. The permanent long-term shares are climbing. I don't know. The Bears didn't like Furlong. Now Ryan Cohen is chief executive CEO, which the market rallied on last time when he became the chairman. So it's actually a bullish thing, but they're obviously trying to fuck everybody out of the calls that they sold them because of the last earnings report. They had a first quarter miss, which isn't very surprising in the retail space. They have the NFT marketplace, which everybody said was a stupid idea when they were making it, and then everybody else started copying. It has like the lowest fees or something. It's built on a really good platform. I think that Web3 gaming is they're setting up the stage for Web3 gaming. It's a long-term play, and they haven't gotten a lot of revenue from the NFT marketplace yet, but I'm sure that they will soon, because the way that I see gaming going forward is basically these large studios making large open world games and then building on top of them for like 10, 12 years until the next one. And I have an example like GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption, Skyrim. These are games that were built on like massive scales and then added to supplementally with not only DLC from the official DLC, but also crowd created content. And all that stuff is going to be licensed and sold using NFTs, because basically what it is it's a very fast way to copyright your work and be able to distribute it and get money for it. The future is bright. I don't even like you can play the price, but you're a minnow swimming with sharks. That's what I gotta say.
So two follow-up questions on that. I get the whole like open world, long-term, development cycle for video games, business aspect of it. GTA 5 is probably the perfect example. What I'm not getting though is how does GME stand to profit from it? Like I know there's the NFT marketplace thing, but why wouldn't game developers just directly implement that? Like, right? How is GME getting a taste of that? And two, and part of the
you know how
ignorance
you
here. Go ahead.
You know how you buy and sell shares off your broker?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Like your broker's getting a piece of every time that you make it's literally just a market, right? And so they're making their money with every trade transaction.
I guess. Yeah, and you also got to keep in mind that among game publishers, the only two that allow crypto in games right now is GameStop and Epic. And that's it. And Epic allows it with some asterisks, but those are the only two that really allow it. Now, you got to compare that to what's happening with actual game development. Right now, it's undergoing a renaissance as generative AI is empowering micro studios of 3 to 5 devs, to pump out games of a quality that we've never seen before. And I know this because I'm sort of on the leading edge because my company was a finalist for Andreessen Horowitz's speedrun this year. We ended up not getting it, but we met with the other finalists and stuff like that. So I got to see the tech we were up against, and it's fucking amazing. So there's a bunch of these companies that are leveraging generative AI, and over half of the speedrun candidates had crypto in their games. So they're not going to be able to land on Valve because it's against Valve's terms of service.
Bingo.
They're not going to be able to land on. They're not going to be able. Yeah, they're not going to be able to land these games in a lot of publishers. So Epic Games and GameStop are positioned to be part of the Web3 gaming revolution, which it's going to happen. And I don't care if you don't want NFTs in your games. Go start a game company and come back to me. Because game companies are going to put them in there.
That's such a funny statement to say. I don't care if you don't want it. You're going to have NFTs in your games because the alternative is microtransactions. And like the gaming industry has spent the last 6 years violently opposing NFTs and microtransactions because of once you buy it, you can't sell it, you can't trade it, you can't get rid of it. Even it's not really even your property. And so the gaming industry had to reach a amicable deal with players, saying okay, fine, if you buy this if you get this microtransaction or whatever, you can sell it back, but we need a way in order to do that. We don't have a system of tracking and processing this stuff. Well, blockchain solves this. Unironically, I'm surprised that
ultimately a value add for the players, and whether or not they understand that.
Yeah,
part of capitalism. Yeah, part of capitalism is doing a value add. And also,
they won't even fucking know. They'll just be I can actually sell my horse armor now? Yeah, you can. Oh, cool. Hey, it's an NFT, by the way. Wait, what? Son of a bitch.
Right. Also, in-game economies are sacrosanct. So, maintaining in-game economies are so important. We all remember, Diablo 2 and how you could duplicate gold, right? By, dropping it on the edge of the map and stuff, right? No one wants that to happen. People want their in-game currency to be real, actually fungible, right? If you want it to be, they want it to be non-fungible. They want it to actually be recordable, and it's best for the game companies because you look at places that are trying to implement real money, like Blizzard tried to implement a few years ago. The technology just wasn't there yet when Blizzard tried to do it, but now it's there. There's an interesting comment that this might prompt AAA studios to get their shit together. It will not, and let me explain why. So what has happened is that AAA studios already have story artists and design artists and all these people. And one of the things that generative AI has done has really cut out the cycle of
storyboarding and making concept art. So the new studios, they literally just don't have to employ those people. Like they literally, but studios like EA and other AAA titles already have that payroll expense. So, you know, they're going to continue to probably pay those people. And another thing that AAA titles have been trapped into, and you guys have already noticed this, is that they make so much money on microtransactions that it's more profitable for them to push DLC than for them to push a new game. But guess what? I'm kind of getting a little tired of Skyrim. It's been a fucking decade. I mean, I love Skyrim, but it's been a decade. So eventually, studios that are publishing, you know, new games are going to erode the DLC profits of the AAA studios and slowly eat them. That's just my opinion.
So, that's fascinating, by the way. And as a video game enthusiast, I'm actually looking forward to all the new possibilities that's gonna bring. I guess it kind of reminds me a little bit of what you guys mentioned with like the general pushback initially against paid DLC and microtransactions, where like, well, there was a pushback. A lot of companies tried taking the high horse on not implementing those. But then it got to a point where, from a business point of view, you're dumb if you're not, you know, taking advantage of these business opportunities. So
NFTs are the bridge, the amicable solution to microtransactions. Yes, we will have microtransactions, but you can sell them, you can resell them, or you can, you know what I mean?
Or you can take a profit on them, right? Like maybe like some, I don't know, drop.
Oh yeah, totally. Once they sell it,
yeah.
Once they sell it, they don't give a shit. But like, it frees up so much of the studio's artists' time to not have to maintain and tweak their economies and allow a market to decide the value of their assets. It's extremely beneficial to someone who's just trying to make a video game fun, designing assets and storylines and missions and all that stuff.
So, question, you know, in that feature, wouldn't that also though open up, I guess, the video game industry to some sort of like government regulation on these like future marketplace? Like, hell, I mean, some could argue that these could be treated as sort of like securities. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, maybe. Who fucking knows? If there's a big, if it makes enough money, the government's going to want their hands in it. Oh, this is dangerous. Something. They'll make up some fucking excuse. Or they'll have
certainly if you ask Gary Gensler, everything's a security. He probably thinks Wild Gold is a fucking security at this point. I mean, so yeah, I mean, depends on who you ask in the government, I would say. But you know, another thing. Crypto. Well, another thing that I want to say about these game studios that are up and coming is some of these smaller studios that are coming out that are going to be partnering with places like GameStop or Epic are looking at non-traditional gaming markets. And one of those non-traditional gaming markets that's super interesting is the continent of Africa. So because of the proliferation of 5G technology and because of the ubiquity of mobile phones over there, like everybody has a freaking cell phone over there, they are poised to add 310. One second. I got to talk to my kid.
310 trillion. That's what I was going to say.
Well, they're poised to. The continent of Africa is poised to add 315 million mobile gamers over the next 5 years. So they're going to add a number of gamers almost equal to the population of the United States over the next 5 years. And I'm going to tell you, these mobile gamers in Africa are not going to spend $60 on a AAA title. However, they might spend $5 on GameStop, right? And, you know, if you do it that way and you have a digital distribution model and you have these micro studios that are pumping out a plethora of low to mid cost games, you could really capture that market. And $5 times 300 million, that's nothing to sneeze at. And people are sleeping on this right now. Like, literally.
Is there any other publicly traded stock that has exposure to this?
Well, that's what's crazy. It's like, not really. And in fact, venture capital has only driven $10 million into the African gaming market in the last 3 calendar years. For those of you that know venture capital, you know that that's basically nothing. That's basically no money. So not only is the market sleeping on this opportunity, but even venture capital, in my personal opinion, is sleeping on the opportunity to develop the African gaming market.
I just put a link on the chat that I just quickly looked up while we were talking about this because it's fascinating to me. I hadn't never even thought about the gaming market in Africa, but yeah, no, that's super interesting, and it just like brings up questions of how do you market this to emerging markets, and yeah, I guess that's how you would have to do it due to income disparity. But that's super fascinating. Something that I wanted to also ask, and I think we sort of answered it along the way, but I did want to get like a straight up definition. So how would you guys define or describe Web3 gaming? I'm a gamer myself, but honestly, it's the first time I heard that phrase is, I guess, recently, and now this morning here talking about it. So yeah, what is Web3 gaming, and how is that a paradigm shift from where gaming's at now?
So the differences in like Web3 gaming, the ownership of the assets is transferred from the players. Like when you buy GTA 5, you're actually buying a limited license to play Grand Theft Auto from Rockstar Games. The disc or whatever you bought has nothing to do with it. You actually just bought a license to play the game. And the first company that did this was IG Software with Rage when Rage came out, I think back in 2013. But now everyone's transferred to this weird license model where if you read the fine print, you don't actually buy a game. You actually buy a license to play a video game, which is revocable, mind you. So,
and is that just for like the online aspect of the game? Like if you like buy a disc of GTA 5, that at least gets you ownership of the offline component of that, right? Or not even?
I don't know. And GTA 5, I don't know what their DRM is. I thought you had to have an internet connection to even play single player. I could be wrong though, so correct me if I'm wrong. But a lot of these games have gone to always on digital rights management, and Web3 is a disruptor in that they're placing ownership of the game and ownership of the in-game assets in the hands of the players. And I think once people really wrap their head around that, they're going to say, well, why would I play a game that's not that way, right? Why would I do that? But I think it's going to take a long time for adoption. And there's a lot of pushback in the gaming community because a lot of people just don't understand it. And that's fine. But I think over the next 5 years, you're going to start to see migration into this sort of distributed method of gaming and asset ownership.
I've gotten a little taste of Web3 gaming. There's something called like zombie blocks. I think Fortnite is considered Web3 gaming. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's this thing called VR chat, and it was crazy. It's insane, actually. So I see a lot of art, independently made features and assets and digital assets that can be traded and bought and sold. It's just like physical things, but in a digital space. And having NFTs allows you to have digital ownership of things that, just like you would physical property.
Do you think there's a video game console manufacturer that's poised to take advantage of this evolving future? This conversation sort of reminds me of the pushback that was it the Xbox One? The Xbox that came out of the same generation as the PS4. If y'all remember, at that E3, they announced that console was actually only going to work if you were always connected to the internet, and that got a huge pushback to the point where they had to like sort of redesign the console design concept before launch, because I guess the market wasn't ready for that at what was it, 2011. But just wondering if and how, from a console developer, and I guess I'm talking about Sony or Microsoft, any of them are poised to take advantage of that feature. I don't think Nintendo, because they tend to be really conservative about how they design their consoles compared to the other two. But I don't know, just putting that out there as a discussion point. Or I guess the mobile market maybe really well poised.
You guys don't even know what was going on with whatever came out with Xbox 360, the Kinect and stuff, and the PlayStation Move. Those things had like cameras and microphones on them, and there were patents and hidden slideshows and stuff where they wanted to be able to tell if your pupils dilated when they looked at a certain ad. They wanted to be able to tell the sweat coming off your body, to see like what kind of mood you were in, to see if you were in like a buying mood, so they knew what to advertise to you. They would hear your frustrations. They would hear a microphone ping. They would hear a dog bark, so that they can know whether to sell you like Hot Pockets or dog food. And your Siri is doing the same thing, and it's fucking nuts that they wanted to do this through video games. And so there's a lot of money involved in that, and it's why I got a. That's why I went PC Master Race after I saw that.
Yeah, if you remember that Xbox, I was gonna say that Xbox, the one that came out in 2011, initially, it was required that you have the Kinect camera connected on it for it to work, but it got huge pushback for those privacy concerns that you mentioned. So I think they were just a little bit ahead of their time. But yeah, I could totally see that. Sorry, you were gonna say Nerd Bond?
Yeah, I just wanted to come up and chat a little bit about the use case of Web3 for anti-counterfeit purposes. Have you guys looked into that at all?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was sort of getting at with the idea of like game economies being sacrosanct. Like you look at a game that is free to play, and most of these free to play games make all their revenue off of cosmetic microtransactions and things like that. I think it's really important to make sure that the players can't somehow game that system or somehow game any of the systems to give themselves access to paid content or to disrupt the economy of a free-to-play system, right? Because then people are going to be like, oh, well, you have to like end up buying the currency for real money or something, right? And that's going to make the experience less fun for a lot of players. So, I mean, I think that it'll definitely
I was
be
speaking in terms of luxury goods in the real world. I think they're going to start releasing NFTs with, say a Gucci bag comes out, they're going to release an NFT with each Gucci bag. So when you buy that Gucci bag, you'll get the Gucci NFT with it. You know what I'm saying? So when you are selling it, basically what it will do is completely kill the counterfeit market for like shoes and handbags and stuff. Whenever you buy something like that, you'll get an NFT with it, so it's real.
But like, I don't know anything about this, but like just thinking, like if I have like a Gucci bag and I'm the owner of the NFT associated with the sale of that particular Gucci bag, like if I'm carrying it around the world, how do you show the world that you have an NFT? Like, do you know what I'm getting at? Like, it's not like it's gonna have a tag.
It wouldn't be to show the world. I mean, obviously, you'd probably be able to use it some way in the metaverse, but I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. What I'm saying is the only reason that NFT is issued is for legitimacy. That's the only reason you have it. Is so when you say I have this Gucci bag, it's real.
Yeah, so this is already happening with the highest end fashion brands. Prada in May of 2022, so basically over a year ago, already came out with NFT links to the Prada bags. And you can actually validate your Prada bag and your Prada NFT on Discord. And then when you sell your Prada bag, the NFT is actually transferable. So that person knows that it's a real Prada bag and not some Chinese knockoff. So you're already seeing some high-end luxury brands. That's just one I know of off the top of my head. But there are other high-end luxury brands. And, you know, if you look in the fashion magazines like Vogue and things like that, you'll find a plethora of articles of these high-end brands beginning to do NFT pairing of their physical products with a digital NFT to reduce counterfeiting. And so that started in 2022. And you're right, Nerd, that's probably just going to continue and become more and more common.
I think so too. And I think that, you know, who's going to be the first to make it to offering that service? You know what I'm saying? You're a bag maker, or you're a shoemaker, or you make, you know, furniture. You're not gonna you don't issue NFTs. You're gonna go third party for that. You're gonna find a company that's gonna do it for you. And I just think that's just like really just like an entire, you know, market. There's an entire market there for luxury goods, and even not even just luxury goods, just mom and pop people. People that, you know, mom and pop that make shit, you know, candle makers want to issue a special collection of NFTs with their candles that get, you know, more valuable as the candle burns, and the less of it there is, the more expensive it is. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of use cases in the real world for Web3. And I think that it's very rarely talked about.
Well, not only rarely talked about, I kind of ridiculed, ignorantly, I would say so, right? But like, when NFTs came out, they were sort of mocked and not taken seriously. But I'm betting there's going to be a cultural reversion of that at some point.
Oh, 100%. I think I think in NFTs will be trading hands a lot more often than they are now, especially with you know, new use cases. But now I think the reason why we got on this conversation to begin with, I think GameStop will be one of the pioneers. They are going to pioneer it. They're going to be one of the big boys as far as Web3 goes. And I think you know, pigeonholing yourself into just video games is would be a bad idea, especially if there's other use cases.
Yeah,
video games are an insanely huge market, though.
Yeah.
That's only gonna grow.
That's a market chase markets that already exist, but emerging markets are, you know, there's a lot of money there.
Well, I'm hoping in my heart of hearts that when Ryan Cohen tweeted he just got off the phone with once a great American company, a lot of people think he was talking about JCPenney or Nordstrom. I really hope he was talking about Blockbuster, because I would love to see like movies start getting traded on the NFT marketplace, like actual ownership.
Right.
Like when you buy a movie off of Amazon right now, digitally, you do not own that. You are just permanently renting.
I know. Yep, 100%. I just paid freaking $30 for Mario. It's not even mine. John, I paid $20 for John Wick yesterday. I don't even own it. Ridiculous. But yes, I think once people figure out that that's what Web3 is for, it's just gonna be pedal to the metal after that. You know?
Do you think there's a future where, like, and I guess I'm on consoles because it's already exists on computer gaming, but like, so in the PlayStation, you only have access to the PlayStation Store, and in Microsoft, you only have access to the Microsoft Store. Do you think there will ever be an incentive for these companies to open up their consoles to? You could download a Steam app or an Epic app or like a GameStop app on the console and like buy games differently there.
I think it's going to be interesting to find out which way that goes, because I definitely know that so you know, this thing with Microsoft, they're like basically being forced to carry other like they're basically they're trying to stop them from only selling their shit on the App Store, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really where that whole issue is going to play out. They're probably gonna make them carry other game makers and app makers. And I think they're actually going to make more money off of it. And eventually that it will open up the entire market for everyone carrying everyone's stuff. I think
there's probably going to be regulatory pushback like to allow that too, especially from the EU.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're at the very beginning of that right now. As far as it playing out in regulatory means, as far as laws go, I think we're at the very beginning of that. And I mean, who's to say what's going to happen though? Somebody's going to find the business model that works the best. Somebody's going to find the business model that works the best, whether it be selling other people's games for them or letting them sell their games for that platform. Somebody's going to roll up on the right recipe for it, and then everybody's going to copy them.
So the natural, I guess, follow-up question to this discussion, especially as us traders, is how do we take advantage of that feature? Are there long-term stocks, plays, companies, or is it still so far in a feature that it's kind of premature to?
It's way too far. Yeah, it's way too far away. Once the industry bites, someone in the industry's got to bite.
Yeah.
There's nobody's biting right now. Everybody's fighting it. They don't they don't want people to be able to resell their shit. But I think it's like I said, once someone bites and the industry gets a taste of like what it's supposed to be like, I think it's over from there.
Yeah.
Once those gamers find out that, oh wow, I can sell this skin, yeah. Anyway, that's what I just wanted to see what you guys thought about the counterfeiting stuff. I guess I got on a whole nother tangent, but I think it doesn't have enough exposure. I think it's going to be a big market. I think.
What do you think that the time scale is gonna, or time frame is gonna be? That we're talking like next 5 years, next 10, sooner than that.
It's hard. That's hard to say. That's really hard to say. But once it does happen, it's gonna be a race after that.
Yeah, light speed. Yeah.
100%, it'll be a race. Who's gonna develop the right recipe? And like I said, I think GameStop's gonna be one of the heavy hitters. They're already, going through all the hiccups and bumps and with their smaller games and stuff. Was it Care World?
I just want to also say, there's also a generational divide here, and that generation, if GameStop can stick it out, is going to eventually catch up with them. And so one of the things that I noticed in playing games with members of Gen Alpha, so Gen Alpha are kids that are basically 12 years old and below. So they're like young children. The interesting thing about when gaming with Gen Alpha, so like I said, my wife's friend had her kid over the other day, and he was playing video games. I was playing video games with him. So what's crazy is I booted up Skyrim and I hit one of the stones to change my experience gain or whatever. And he was like, "Did you just pay for that?" And I was like, "What? No." And then but the thing is because he grew up on Minecraft and he grew up on Roblox, he is so used to microtransactions in games that there was at least 3 times during a 15-minute session of me playing Skyrim and this kid watching that he asked me if I bought something, because that's how Gen Alpha has been conditioned. That if you want something in the digital world, you pay for it with real world money. And when that generation grows up, that's going to be weird.
Yeah. We're not
pay
not
to play, man. The world, pay to play world. I'm kind of interested to see how far they take subscription services. What are you going to be able to subscribe to? Like a hospital subscription?
You mean health insurance?
Yeah.
Bro, that was savage. Yeah. You mean health insurance, right. It's not even a very good subscription because it doesn't even cover shit.
And you still have to pay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
it would be like if you had a subscription to a streaming service and you went to watch a movie and they're like, "Well, this movie's $30." And you'd be like, "Why am I paying for this?"
And actually, that kind of already happens because, you can have, for example, Amazon Prime, but if you want access to movies that are in theaters right now, you have to pay $30 more. But it's interesting how the concept of ownership is changing between generations. For boomers, this is just simply inconceivable. Millennials, sort of somewhere in between that. Zoomers and alphas, it's just a normal part of the concept of ownership for them at this point. And it's gonna come to a point where digital ownership or rental of things is gonna be more sentimentally valuable than physical ownership of stuff. I also wonder, it's sort of a different conversation, but who's gonna be the first big video game developer to take advantage of how these LLM models can extend the lifetime of their single player games? Because I don't know, with ChatGPT and all this stuff, I just keep thinking of, what if like the next Elder Scrolls game has it so that every NPC that you talk to, like each time you talk to them, it's a new and unique conversation generated through an LLM model. So it's not like Skyrim where the guards are saying, "Oh, took an arrow to your knee" every time you see them. It'll be a game where like every character has unique dialogue that's new.
Every interaction is unique.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand what you're saying.
I don't think
And you don't have to. You don't have to select your dialogue choice. You can actually just speak it into a microphone.
Yeah, true. Exactly.
There's going to be a day,
guys.
guys. There's going to be a day where Ryan Cohen or whoever he elects goes up to the microphone for their next earnings report, and he just says AI, 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 and all of a sudden, all the different paradigms and all of the different amalgamations and permutations of AI all come together to make a perfect video game. Whether it's AI created art, AI created dialogue, AI created target recognition and tracking, predictive analysis, all that stuff.
Oh, it goes a lot deeper than that, man. So like our company, we ended up creating a tech demo that we're going to be rolling out this summer for ChatGPT integrated Unreal 5 NPCs. But in addition to that, we actually have this analysis matrix that basically tells us how a person has interacted with a specific NPC, and then it emotionally changes how that NPC interacts with that person. So like if you were a dick to somebody in this video game, they're going to be a dick back to you. And like we already have the tech demo up and running internally, and like I got on, and one of the things that we programmed into it was timestamping. So it realized I hadn't interacted with it in 3 days, and so it was asking me where I had been and what I had been doing. Which talk about a level of immersion. Talk about a level of immersion. Just imagine like you just come back into Skyrim and they're like, "Where have you been, friend? Like what quest have you been on?" Right? That's like what we're trying to build.
So you're saying they're gonna make video game waifus a real thing?
I'm just saying that like there's a lot of upward movement here. But there's a lot of people that are building this kind of stuff right now. But talking about subscription worlds, I actually linked my drink subscription that I have at my local gas station. It's a subscription through Circle K, and I basically pay a monthly fee, and then once a day I can go in there and get a big gulp cup and fill it up with Pepsi or whatever I want, and it doesn't cost me any money.
What? That's dope.
So, by the way, I was looking this up while we're talking. There's already a Skyrim mod that uses ChatGPT and allows you to talk to the NPCs and yeah, they respond based on LLM generation. I think that's a preview of where we're headed. Like if some modder can do it, I can only imagine how awesome and seamless it's gonna be when like big name studios get behind it. I'll put a link to the chat. But
video games are only going to get more addictive.
Yeah. People in the chat are saying I sound like Elon Musk. That's so funny. This is actually a Puerto Rican accent y'all are hearing. That's the autism that I know, as far as I know. Yeah, you're probably right.
All right.
All right, time for my daily walk to the gas station to get my subscription drink.
Do you have an NFT for that?
I don't yet. I should ask them if they want to roll out an NFT for their sip and save program. Yeah, $6 a month.
What
And
about?
they get one big gulp a day at the Circle K.
Hey, what about this? What have you guys ever thought about, like NFTs that are coupons? Like a coupon for a discount or a service?
Yeah, so
you saying that the value of the coupon would fluctuate? Like one day it's going to be 5% off, next day 6% off, or 4% off?
I don't know.
no, the way the coupon. Okay, so Hedera Hashgraph and Coupon Barrow have already rolled out a blockchain NFT based couponing solution that has been adopted by Walmart. And what it actually does is, like, this is already out there, it's already done. What it does is it allows Walmart to reduce coupon fraud. So what was happening was people were going to Walmart, buying stuff with coupons,
Counterfeiting,
returning it at full price, and then pocketing the delta in cash. And they ended up coming up with an NFT-based solution to make that impossible. And it's already been implemented. It's already done. So now when you use the coupon at Walmart, it's written to the blockchain.
There you go. There you go. Right there. Use case counterfeit use case. Already in use. That's awesome.
Use.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you look up Coupon Bureau and their partnership with Hedera, it's all about preventing retail coupon fraud. And yeah, they've got Walmart. You're going to have a few others adopt it here before the end of the year.
And are they public? Are they a public company?
They are not, but I think that the trade here would be that Walmart and Target and a few others will have reduction in the amount of shrinkage, because this particular type of fraud is a loophole that will eventually be closed.
Right. That's cool stuff. I did not know that. What is this, Shane?
Yeah, Leaping Leopard's posting about dramatically declining fertility in the West. It's because a bunch of people in the West are waiting till they're 35 to have kids like I did. That's a mistake. You should knock those kids out early. I'm only saying biologically. Financially, that's a terrible plan. But biologically, I think we're meant to have kids younger than we're having kids at.
Dogs are the new kids, man.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of people I know that just have dogs and stuff, but kids are the ultimate multi-level marketing scheme. If you know people with kids, they're always like, "Hey, when are you having kids?" It's like the ultimate MLM.
Biological Scientology.
Bro, there's this house on my neighborhood that's been for sale for like 2 weeks. It's crazy. It's like the longest I've seen a house for sale in years.
What city, if you don't mind me asking? I'm in Miami. That's definitely not the experience here.
I'm in Columbus, Ohio. And like our real estate market was just so hot. And now I'm just seeing a house sit. They're doing a thing where they're power washing it right now. Whereas before, man, you would put a house, the average amount of time that a house sat on the market here was 1.1 days. Like last year. Which is nuts. It means literally a house went on the market and the next day it was bought. It's crazy. Different world now. And obviously, if you don't know how to play that, you buy puts on companies like Loan Depot and things like that. Companies that are issuing the loans to the house buyers are going to have decreased volume in loans because of the inflationary environment and because of the high interest rates on loans. And so therefore, they're going to have lower volume, which means they're going to have lower profits, which means the stock's going to go down. Pretty basic shit. That being said, some of this is already priced in. And as soon as the Fed starts to pivot, this play is going to get blown the fuck out because everyone will go and refinance at the lower rate. It'll be just a surge of people getting their houses refinanced at lower rates. Someone asked in the comments, what's a refinance? I assume that's a joke. Oh, you're not in the US. Okay, here's the way it works. You finance your house at a certain rate, right? So like say it's $200,000, you get a loan for $200,000 at a certain percentage. I'm sort of simplifying this, but let's say the interest rate in housing goes down and therefore it becomes cheaper to get money because the central bank has lowered interest rates on lending. Then there will be people that are offering loans at a lower interest rate. So then you could take your $200,000 loan and get another loan at a lower interest rate, pay off your previous loan with that loan, and lock in a lower interest rate on that cash. That's the basics of how a refinance works, like in the simplest terms. You're basically paying off a loan with a loan to get a better loan, if that makes any sense. Apparently in Europe, they call that rebuying your loan. That's probably a better term for it, to be honest. A little more accurate description of what's actually happening.
I was deafened, but I don't know where the conversation left off. But you guys want to talk about Coinbase for a second? Did you see that new? I don't know if it's an ad or what, but it's Brian Armstrong in like this dimly lit black and white shadowed room, and he's talking about how we need a better rule book for how to follow the rules so that we know how to make a better exchange. Okay. This is something that I predicted. I told you guys, I looked at my crystal ball and it was telling me that Brian Armstrong is going to take this fight with the SEC public. He's going to make it a big public eye fight. And he has quite a bit of ammo to fight the SEC with, because he's basically made the SEC irrelevant with, or he's going to be making the SEC irrelevant with money tracking, the idea of cryptocurrency and innovation.
Yeah,
so
but wouldn't you say that? Wouldn't you say that like the you know the smaller coins? Wouldn't you say they're all kind of like a race to zero though?
Hey, dude, it's a free country, man.
Like, wouldn't you say it's like a race to zero since they're like kind of all inflationary?
I've never bought a shit coin ever. And
yeah, I haven't either.
And anybody that does is taking on their own responsibility.
Yeah.
But the idea that your money is being stolen is not the case. It's not true in the legal term.
Right.
You bought it and it decreased in value, just like a Snickers that you would buy off the shelf. You bought it and then you ate it, and now it is literal shit. So, but it's becoming a big public, and it's going to get
the argument that it's an asset and not a security, right?
Well, it's whether or not the SEC has like control over it, and whether or not they can fine it and get money passively through licensors and all this other bullshit that they want to put on Coinbase and Binance and FTX. Wanted to with FTX. This is literally playing out like a fucking psyops playbook. It's they set up FTX and SBF as a patsy. They let it fall. Now they have the problem reaction solution. The solution that they've always wanted was to get cryptocurrency underneath the SEC's jurisdiction and government's control, so that they could tax it, so that they could make it not compete with the dollar, so they could do a bunch of other crazy shit, and just make laws willy-nilly and make it so convoluted that nobody wants to be able to figure it out except for the big ones at the top. And the way they do that is by causing a problem, and they cause the problem with Sam Bankman-Fried, who's literally like the daughter, or who's like literally the son of the daughter of like some famous politicians or whatever. He's in tight with Maxine Waters. He's like that guy was like 30 years old, shaking hands with like all these old billionaires, and
the whole thing is sketchy. Oh yeah.
What's that Irish guy, Mr. Wonderful? Like, everybody trusted him and all this stuff. It was a set up. And now, oh God, what the hell is that guy's name on Shark Tank? Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary, right? And now he's advocating for regulation and stuff. That's what he always wanted in the first place. This is a classic, just by the books way of getting laws passed.
Create a problem.
You can get the solution that you wanted, exactly. But it's not. But what's funny and hilarious to me is like, it's kind of similar to COVID, but like what's hilarious to me is all these crypto bros and everybody in the cryptocurrency sphere that I'm looking at don't want regulation. They get ripped off for thousands of dollars a day, and they still don't want the SEC getting involved. The only one who seems to want it is Kevin O'Leary. And it's like, well, Kevin, why don't you just stay out, dude? Why don't you just stay out? Like, they're trying to close the clubhouse off, and that's what they need to do. And so Brian Armstrong is going to make this thing. He's going to bring a whole bunch of drama in there, and he's going to basically fight the SEC, and it's going to be very interesting.
I still think 100% at the end of the day, Binance and Coinbase are both, essentially the Fed. It's all inflationary, and you should buy Bitcoin. I'm sorry I said that. I won't say it again. But if you are going to fuck with cryptocurrency, you want one that's non-inflationary. The only one. So I think they're all zero-sum games, man. It's a race to the bottom. Like, can you get your money in and out fast enough to where you come out on top?
So there was a question in the chat a while ago, and I responded to it with like a one-word answer. But the question was, why is it called a mortgage and not a house loan? So originally, the term mortgage comes from the Latin mort and the French gage, meaning pledge.
I heard you talking about this.
Yeah, and so it means death pledge. And so originally mortgages, you just paid on it your entire life, and then when you died, the property was conveyed to your heirs, and the debt was wiped away. So it was like, hey, pay on this house for 25 years. Like, well, what if I die before 25 years from now? It's like, oh, well then your children get the house. Yeah, that was originally how the first mortgages were structured. So that's why they're called that.
Well, just pay me until you die. That's fair.
When life expectancy was at like 45 or 50, that made more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the lifespans were shorter, yeah, it made a lot more sense.
I mean, with housing prices these days, man, I don't know. I think I'd take the till I die Fuck.
It's called
buying a house,
renting.
dude. Buying a house is totally going to be a generational thing soon.
I mean, it already kind of is.
You're gonna have to pay on it, and then you're gonna have to get your kids to ready to pay for it too.
Yeah, I think in parts of the country it already is generational. I heard that they're doing 40 and 50-year mortgages over in New Jersey now. What?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Like what? I hear in Canada they're doing them 40, 50-year mortgages also.
I mean, I know of a lot of millennials, myself included, where it's just not financially feasible right now to own a house. Like I hate paying rent, but like just right now, and I don't see it happening within the next 2 or 3 years. It's hard.
I took over the mortgage of my parents' house and paid off the rest of it in 2011 when like the whole housing crisis thing was happening. Because my parents had moved out of state and they were like, no one's lived in the house for a year. Do you want to like move back in there? And I'm like, bruh, you just can't let a house sit. You just can't let a house sit for years. And especially in a place here that has winters, you just can't let a house sit empty for years. Like it'll fuck it up. So
Humidity and all the
yeah, it's bad. So anyway, but like I paid off the rest of their mortgage over the course of like the next 10 years. And when I sold my business, I paid off the rest of the mortgage. But that's the only reason I was able to afford it was I sold my business.
Oh yeah.
Sold my business, bought some houses. That's turning out to be a good play. But, you know.
It was the right move.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fixing, honestly, dude. I'm tired of renting. I'm fixing to buy it's a Sprinter van that's turned into it's like converted into a like a little mini camper, because I live in downtown Atlanta, and there's like I used to make so much more money 2 years ago, dude. It's ridiculous, and I still get paid the same.
Oh
like
yeah,
my money
inflation's killing
went
it,
twice
dude.
as far. Yeah, my money went twice as far. It's hard. It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to. Like I'm struggling now, whereas before I wasn't, and it sucks, and I'm tired of it, and I'm not renting anymore.
Right.
I've got this problem has to be solved, and that's what I think my solution is anyway.
I hear you.
I'm gonna I already have a shop for like all my I do 3D printing and stuff, so I basically have that hangout place. I need a room to sleep in now. It's like fuck having company.
So what you're saying is you're gonna be living in a van down by the river.
Down by the river, fuck yes.
I hear you. I'm in the exact same boat as you are, except without the van by the river plan.
Luckily, I'm talking to a dude that owns a huge, like weirdly a farm in the middle of downtown Atlanta. And he's got like a big piece of property, and I think he's gonna let me just pull up onto it and just pay power and water. Which is, technically living in a van down by the river, but it's, it's in a nice neighborhood. The river's in a nice neighborhood, okay? Oh man. It's funny and sad all at the same time.
Do you guys remember when we used to talk about Mullen Automotive?
Yeah, I still got some Mullen.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. It's down 90%.
I'm down 70%. So I got in.
God. What are they doing over there? Nothing?
Well, I mean, I think I have like 20 shares, but I'm extremely diversified in the sense that I just buy everything instead of, I mean, not everything, but EV wise, I've got quite a bit. I'm diversified. So you never know what's going to happen. They look like shit right now. Shit has crazy stuff happens, man. Mergers happen, and never know.
I hear you. Hey, Mongoose, you on? I guess not.
That's everything.
Anybody playing DocuSign today?
Meanwhile, Tesla's up 10% this week.
And having a great day today. It's up 3.5%.
A nice little trip.
All right, gotta take off for the morning, but good talk all around. Take care, everybody. Elon out.
Walmart now has $0 delivery fees for members, which is part of the plan that I talk about quite often. That the future of shopping at large retail stores will be shopping online and then picking it up in the parking lot.